Thank you, PID Sanjay Kethan, for the wonderful session. Now, I would like to invite a speaker and a motivator par excellence, who needs no introduction, Mr. Shiv Khera, who will be speaking on Turn Setbacks into Comebacks.
Hi everyone, welcome to this ISAME Forum 2020, and we are very fortunate to have a personality like icon motivator of the world motivator. I will not say that he's an Indian motivator, because he belongs to the entire world, and the way he motivates everyone, the way he lights the sparks in everybody's life is really remarkable. And we are very fortunate to have amongst us today the iconic motivator line, Mr. Shiv Khera. And I'm very thankful to Shiv Khera ji for accepting my request to be with us and to be in this forum and share his views and thoughts about Lionism also, and the other things also, the way we should live. I would not take much of your time, and I would like to hand it over to Rajesh to properly introduce Shiv Khera ji, please. Rajesh.
Thank you, ID GP Singh ji. Friends, it's a proud privilege for me today. Someone who I've always taken as my guru, whose books I have read and learned a lot, and I get an opportunity today to introduce him to the lions of ISAME. Mr. Shiv Khera is an author, educator, business consultant, and a much sought after speaker. He inspires and encourages individuals to realize their true potential. He has taken his dynamic personal messages to opposite sides of the globe, from US to Singapore. His 40 years of research and understanding has put millions on the path of growth and fulfillment. Over 8 million copies of his books have been sold globally, including his international bestseller, You Can Win, which was in 21 languages. His clients include Lufthansa, HP, DHL, HSBC, Canon, Nestle, Philips, Mercedes, Johnson & Johnson, MetLife, and many more. Tens of thousands have benefited from his dynamic workshops internationally in over 20 countries, and millions have heard him as a keynote speaker. He has appeared on numerous radio and television shows. Mr. Khera is a brand ambassador of Roundtable Foundation. He has been honored by the Lions International and Rotary International. Who can forget his trademark? Winners don't do different things, they do things differently. Friends, it is my proud privilege now to present before you the one and only, loved by all, revered by all, respected by all, Mr. Shiv Khera. And before I hand over the stage to Mr. Khera, I just have to mention two things. One, that at the end of the session, we will be asking 3 questions. So whatever your questions are, you can put in the chat box, and we'll be putting 3 questions to Mr. Khera to answer. And secondly, we will be sharing a link of the book, 11 Cardinal Rules for Business Success, at the end of the session, which will be for a free downloading to all the participants today. And now it's time to welcome the man himself, Mr. Shiv Khera. All yours, sir.
Thank you, sir. I'm grateful to you. Mr. Mehra, I didn't know I did all those things that you just said. I didn't know that. But indeed, grateful to you, sir. And I want to thank Mr. JP Singh, who was the one who initiated the whole thing. Sir, I'm grateful to you too. Now, folks, all I can say is, in today's pandemic, I don't know of anybody who has all the answers. Certainly, I don't. And why did we take this title as a turn setback into comeback is because in my own life, I have had 3 major setbacks where in my own life, I went into a minus, and minus means minus. And what helped me come back is what I'm going to share today. Now, folks, I'm not that educated. My academics are, I'm a BCom third division. I failed in my 10th. That's my academics. And I come from a business family. We had coal mines in India, close to 1,000 people working. Now, I didn't create them. I inherited them. And the mines got nationalized. The government took over. And right from being a mine owner, we came on the street. Street means street. Now, some families had money. Our family did not, because my father had died when I had just about finished college, and we were left with the liabilities and the assets were gone. And I was married only 4 weeks then. And I remember a year later, my daughter was born, and I sold some of the last pieces of my mother's jewelry to get released from the hospital. I did not have $10 to buy milk that night. I tried my hands on 3 businesses with no money, and I failed in all 3. Finally, November 13, 1975, I left India. Went to US, initially went to Toronto, and started life with a bucket in my hand, washing cars door to door. For a year and a half, I was washing cars on the street. And totally by accident, I got into selling life insurance. And that was probably the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. But within 3 months, my manager called me to fire me for non-performance. Now, from this point onwards, what was the changes that changed my life? I'm going to share. Thereafter, I started hitting $1 million policies, moved on to the US, got into 3 businesses. I bought out a company out of California, 1984. Started the New Jersey operation with no clients, and I sold my company with close to 500 clients for a decent sum. So this is my journey in a nutshell, my 45 years. Okay, now, folks, this crisis has gone from one city to another, covered the whole world. Overcrowded hospitals, shortage of supplies, orders getting canceled, factories are closing, unemployment going up, death rate going up. This scenario has literally shaken up the whole world. Now, you see, folks, this has created a lot of uncertainty, because nothing is predictable. There is no finish line. And because of that, people are feeling very insecure today. And because of the insecurity, people are living, and they've got stressed out. They're facing anxiety, frustration, depression, and even anger, all put together. Now, all I can say is, folks, stress is both normal and natural. Anybody who says they have no stress, they belong into the lunatic asylum. Folks, all stress is not bad. In fact, it is stress that makes us perform. The athlete at the Olympics, folks, is he under stress? Answer is yes. If he was not, there's no way he can perform. The only example that I can think of which fits perfectly fine is at the race course. We might have seen in the real life or in the movies the thoroughbred horses. When they are being taken into the cabin, are they walking casually relaxed? No. The all thoroughbreds are jumping like this. You know why? They're under very heavy stress. And when they're put into the cabin, and the moment the bell rings, what do? Bang! They shoot and they perform. Now that's a thoroughbred. But if you take a jackass to the race course, this jackass walks so relaxed, so comfortable. He's not jumping like a thoroughbred, but remember, for the rest of his life, he will remain a jackass and he'll never perform like a thoroughbred. Now, this is very important, Marasab, and that is that stress is the price we pay to be a thoroughbred in life. I repeat, stress is the price we pay to be a thoroughbred in life. Now, all of us can handle stress. What we cannot handle is chronic stress. Are you with me? All of us can handle stress, What we cannot handle is chronic stress. Now, folks, let us not overrate this crisis and threat, and let us not underrate our strength to fight and win. I repeat one more time. Let us not overrate this crisis and threat, and let us not underrate our strength to fight and win. Now think about it. Ruchita, think about it. How come under the same set of circumstances, some people break records while others break themselves? How come? How come? Identical circumstances, some people break records while others break themselves. How come? Okay. Now, this crisis has impacted us three ways. One, it has impacted our life. Two, livelihood. And three, our lifestyle. Now, how has it impacted our life? Folks, none of us know who will be in quarantine next. Nobody knows. One part. And two, Rupesh, what we do and where we go and who we meet could be a matter of life and death. Are you with me? That's impacting our life. Now, two is our livelihood. All over the world, people have had salary cuts, job cuts, many businesses have closed, and some permanently, by the way, in New York. 40% of restaurant trade has closed permanently. Now, many businesses have closed, and even governments are going bankrupt because they're not collecting any taxes. But now let us look at the people who are the worst hit. Every organization, every country has three kinds of people. One, the super rich. Two, the mediocre. And three, the poor. The poor people are the worst hit. They're the daily wage earners. They work during the day, eat in the evening. They are the worst hit. Now let us talk of the super rich. Now, Mera Sahab, the super rich don't have any problem. You see, they don't have any cash flow problem. They don't have any liquidity problem. They don't have any livelihood problem. I was just reading, Apple Computers has $250 billion in cash reserve. Now, they can't have a livelihood problem, man. And I was just reading 2 months ago, this article came out in Economic Times. Only during this pandemic, JP Saab, only during this pandemic, Mukesh Ambani's net worth has gone up by $22 billion. You know what that means? He is adding 90 crores per hour. Now, obviously, he can't have a problem, cash flow problem, or a money problem. Now, that leaves mediocre people like me and some of the listeners. The mediocre people are thinking, will the crisis finish before the money, or will the money finish before the crisis? Are you with me? Hello? JP Saab. Okay, now, you see, the mediocre people. Now, you see, when we talk of livelihood, every few years, there is a new buzzword come up, and that becomes like a fashion or a trend. 5, 6 years ago, the buzzword used to be startup, startup, startup. Everybody was starting up. And then the word came, make in India, make in India, make in India. Everybody was making India, making India. And now what is the new buzzword? Work from home, work from home, work from home. That's a new word. Now, maybe in some industries like IT, possibly you can work from home. But let me ask you, how do you work from home in a construction industry? How do you work from home in a manufacturing industry? You can't. Now, I had a banker come to see me the other day, and I asked him, you are paying salaries to people. Can you actually justify salaries? Are you getting the output for the money? He said, Mr. Khera, the 80-20 rule applies. 80-20 rule applies, and that is that 20% people are responsible people who can work without supervision. 80% people need supervision. Even if you give them measurable targets, they still need supervision. And people who are not mature, they think working from home is a paid vacation. It's not. Now, I'll share with you an example. You see, in the US, Gallup did a survey. It's a global survey, by the way. A global survey was conducted by Gallup, which said 63% of people who go to work, they're disengaged. You know what it means? They don't do their job. An additional 24% are actively disengaged. You know what that means? They make sure that others also don't do their job. That only leaves 13% of people who go to work actually do work. Look at this. This survey was conducted globally by Gallup before the crisis. Only 13% of people who go to work actually do work. Let me ask you, is this not an integrity issue? Now, I was selling life insurance in the US. I was on 100% commission. Now, if I didn't sell, I wouldn't get any money, and I had no money to eat. So you had to do a job properly, and I'm glad we had to. But I saw there were some people who were getting salaries, but they were not working. And that is where I learned the difference between making money versus earning money. Making money is criminal, earning money is spiritual. Are you with me? You see, making money is criminal, earning money is spiritual. What is the difference? When we earn money, we put our energy and ethics behind it. Energy and ethics behind it to earn money. And sadly, most people want to make money, very few want to earn money. And now, you see, that has helped me all through my life, is the earning part now. And now let's look at the lifestyle part, livelihood, and one more thing on the livelihood. You see, another new buzzword that has come up. A few years ago, the buzzword used to be globalization, globalization, globalization. Now the new word is localization, localization, localization. Why is that? Because you see, till now, production was 20,000 miles away from consumption. And now the consumer country has realized that the producing country can blackmail you and put you out of business in less than 5 minutes. I just read, America depends on China for 97% of the pharma products. I was shocked. India depends on China for 81% of antibiotics. India depends on China for 70% of electronics. The producing country can blackmail you and throw you out of business in 5 minutes. And now people have realized that production must come to closer to consumption. And the reason why production went away 20,000 miles to begin with was because of labor cost. But today with automation and robotics, you can start a factory or a production facility 50 times bigger with 1/10 of the labor. So labor cost has become very insignificant. So you will see a major change as you go along. And now comes the lifestyle component. Now, till the lockdown came in, all of us were in the fast lane. We were all running. Where we were going, we didn't know, but we had no time. We had no time. Look at this. What a paradox. the amount of time-saving devices we have today, we have never had that many in history. And yet we don't have what? We don't have time. What a joke. And why don't we have time? Because we messed up our priorities. And I'm not giving lectures here. I'm guilty myself. I messed up too. And whenever we mess up our priorities, we forget to distinguish between what's urgent in life and what's important in life. Urgent may or may not be important, and important may or may not be urgent. But the interesting thing is that whenever we ignore what is important, it always converts into urgent. See, health is important, but it's not urgent. Exercising every day is important, but it's not urgent. Now, if I have a crucial meeting tonight, I cannot exercise, it's not the end of the world. But if I ignore my health long enough, guess what happens? I will end up in the hospital. See, folks, in life, relationships are important, but they're not urgent. But if you ignore relationship long enough, guess what happens? You start talking to your lawyers. See, folks, whenever we ignore what is important, it always converts into urgent. And this lockdown, what it has forced people is step backwards, reevaluate the priorities. You ask people, why do you go to work? I go to work for my family. Why do you work hard? I work hard for my family. Who are the most important people in your life? My family. Who are the most neglected? Also my family. What a joke. The most important people become the most neglected too. And I'm guilty myself too. And now people have realized one thing, and that is that till now we were running all right, but check, were we running in the right direction? And now people have realized in life, direction is much more important than speed. I repeat one more time. In life, direction is much, much more important than speed. And see, people have also realized the priorities on discretionary and non-discretionary spending. You see, we always kept hearing, hey, cash is king, cash is king, cash is king. Did we understand the meaning what cash is king means? Now we have realized what it means. It is better to have money in the bank than to have 50 shirts in your closet. It is better to have money in the bank than to buy a car worth $250,000. What the hell are you going to do with that? So meaning of cash is king has come out better now. Okay, now there are only two such references of crises like that through history. One was the Spanish flu. Now I'm not going to talk about it. You might have heard enough times. But I just want to say one thing. Spanish flu came in 1918. And then it went away. And people thought the danger was over. But 6 months later, it came back and it killed. Mr. Mehra, guess how many people? 50 million people were dead. 50 million, 50. And the estimate is it could be 70 million, but not less than 50 million. So the reason I share this is because just because the lockdown is over does not mean the danger is over. Be careful. Many places like South Korea, Singapore, they have been talking of second phases. Melbourne had another lockdown. And in Europe, they're having a lockdown right now. And besides, folks, don't let your guards down. And in US, 260,000 people are dead already. And they said the second phase hasn't even come as yet. Okay, so we need to be careful. Now comes the second part is, the second comparison was the Great Depression of 1929. Banks failed, stock market crashed, people lost their savings, $100 became $15. Dollar lost its value 85%. And 15 million people were unemployed. Now, 15 million people 100 years ago is like 50 million today, because the population in US was only 120 million at that time. And right now, close to 50 million people are unemployed in the US. Okay. Now, what is a silver lining? Here's a silver lining. Experience has shown that whenever unemployment goes up, self-employment always goes up. I repeat one more time. Whenever unemployment goes up, self-employment always goes up. Now, during the Great Depression, there were some people who started the business, and today they are household words. Now, they had no money, no education, no technology, no risk-taking ability, but they had one thing only. They were solution-focused, positive people. They were solution-focused, positive people. Now, have you noticed there are some people who are problem-focused? You know what that means? You give them a solution, they'll give you a problem. They have a problem for every solution. Henry Ford said, kick them out, kick them out, kick them out. We're not stupid, we understand there are problems. But we need somebody who's solution-focused. I'm going to share with you only 3 examples of people like that. One was a man by the name of George Jenkins. He started an outlet in his neighborhood for non-perishable, durable goods. Now, these 2 words, JP Sahab, are very important, non-perishable and durable, because if they perish, means it's total loss. Durable means if he was not able to sell, at least the family could use it. This is how he started. And today, his turnover is $30 billion, net worth $6 billion. He has 1,000 outlets in the US, and the store's name is Public Supermarket in the US. Google it, you'll find out. Number 2, there were 2 brothers in California, Gallo brothers. They were struggling. They caught hold of some grape, made wine out of it, but nobody would buy it. They started selling the wine at 50% below market. This is how they started. And today, Gallo Wineries accounts for 25% of the wine trade in the US, and the valuations are $10 to $12 billion. Third example, a man by the name of Simplot had a patch of land, started cultivating potatoes. Now, what he couldn't sell, they ate, and what he couldn't eat started rotting. Now, he could not afford the loss of rotten potatoes, so he started freezing them. This is how he started. And today, he accounts for 33% of the French fries business in the US. And his valuations are $10 to $12 billion. Now, folks, I don't want to leave the impression to my listeners today that you and I start a business and all of us will become billionaires. That is not the message. The message is only one thing. All these people had problems, and some of them had bigger problems than you and I are facing today. They had much bigger problems. But they were solution focused. We need to become solution focused only. That's about it. No more. I want to repeat the sentence that I started my program with. Ruchita, think about it. How come under the same set of circumstances, some people break records while others break themselves? How come? Okay. Now, how do we overcome this crisis? Normally, if I have time, I will cover 9 steps, but if I don't, at least I will cover 6 or 7 steps today in the interest of time. And if you want to take them down, please do so. And step one is Step one is the serenity prayer. And Samir, the serenity prayer goes like this. Well, let me show the background first. You see, 45 years ago, I attended a program by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, the man who wrote the book Power of Positive Thinking. There were 1,000 people, I was one of them. Dr. Peale came in, looked at all of us and said, you people appear so cool, calm, and comfortable, it appears nobody has a problem here. Then he asked, does anyone have a problem here? Everybody raised their hand. Of course we have problems. Who doesn't have problems? Then he said, how many people would like to get rid of the problem? Again, everybody raised their hand. And then he said, while I was coming here, I came across a place where I saw some people all stretched out, comfortable, relaxed. They had no problem whatsoever. How many people would like to know where that place is? Again, everybody raised their hand. And then Dr. Peale said, 2 blocks away from here, there is a cemetery. And there are people lying there, all stretched out, comfortable. They have no problem whatsoever. And then he asked, how many people would like to get rid of the problem? Nobody raised their hand. Everybody put their hand in their pocket. And then Dr. Peale said, remember, problem is a sign of life. So long as we are alive, we shall have problems. And the day we don't have problems, we'd be dead. And when you're running short of problems, that is the time to get on your knees and pray to God. If you stop trusting me anymore, send me some problems. And that day, he gave a prayer which is called the Serenity Prayer. And I will repeat it twice. And maybe I will also do it once in Hindi also. And in my opinion, it is the gist of life. And for the past 45 years, I have never left my home without my prayer. And there have been many, many difficult situations I have faced. And this prayer has helped me all the way. And it goes like this. It says, God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, and courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference, what I can and what I cannot. I repeat one more time. God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, and courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference, what I can and what I cannot. And let me repeat one more time in Hindi. परमात्मा मुझे संतुलन दो, जो मैं बदल नहीं सकता आपकी सौगात समझ के स्वीकार करूं, और अगर बदल सकता हूं तो मुझे इतनी हिम्मत और हौसला दो कि मैं उसे बदल दूं, और इतनी सुबुद्धि दो कि मैं फर्क बता सकूं, क्या बदल सकता हूं और मैं क्या नहीं बदल सकता. Now, if you analyze and dissect this little prayer, God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. Now, my question is, can we change everything the way we want in this world? No. Can we manipulate everything the way to suit us? No. There are many things beyond us, such as, I didn't choose my parents, neither did you, my friend Rupesh. I didn't decide where I was going to be born, and neither can you, JP. Now, many things are beyond, and there are people who are born deformed. What wrong did they? Who knows? And sometimes bad things happen to good people for no fault of them. What wrong they did? Who knows? If this is my height and color of my skin, there's nothing I can do about it. How did this corona crisis come? I don't know. I don't know. But it's here. See, what I cannot change, let me accept it graciously, not grudgingly, because there are many people who keep fighting the things they just cannot change, and they bring stress into our lives, and they become paralyzed, and they become unproductive. So if I cannot change, let me accept it graciously. And if I can, then give me the guts to do it, courage and wisdom to know what I can and what I cannot. Now, when I wrote my new book, which was launched in London a year and a half ago, the title is You Can Achieve More. And I took this thought and took it 2 steps forward. And if you people don't have the book, just send me your address. I'll send it to me as my gift to you people. Just send me the address to you here. Now, folks, in there I have written that life is full of choices and life is full of compromises. Seems like a contradiction, but not really. How is life full of choices? See, Samir, if I ill-treat you, I have chosen to be ill-treated, haven't I? If I treat you with discourtesy, I've chosen to be treated with discourtesy, haven't I? If I light up a cigarette, I've chosen to invite cancer, haven't I? And if I drink and drive, I've chosen to invite an accident, haven't I? And if I exercise every day, I've chosen to invite good health, haven't I? And if I eat too much every day, I've chosen to be obese, haven't I? And Mehrasab, if I tell lies, I've chosen to lose my credibility, haven't I? And if I tell the truth, I've chosen to be a credible person, haven't I? See, life is full of choices. Now, we are all free to the point of choice, but after we make our choices, the choice controls the chooser. We have no more choice. We are only free to the point of choice. But after we make our choices, freedom stops. Now, how is life full of compromises? In life, we cannot choose the cards that are dealt to us. What we can choose, how we play the game. Sometimes nature gives us a lemon. The choice is ours. Do we cry or do we make lemonade? That's a choice. Now, see, many times people ask me, Mr. Khera, people who are successful, don't they make mistakes in life? And people who fail, don't they do positive things in life? And my answer is that people who succeed, they do make mistakes. But remember, making a mistake once in a while does not make anybody a failure. Repeating the same mistake again and again is what brings failure. And doing something positive once in a while does not bring success either. Repeating the same positive behavior again and again is what brings success. So what is success? Series of positive choices in life is called success, and series of negative choices in life is called failure. And that's it. It is so simple. Mehrasab, are you with me, sir? Okay. Now, this is step one. Step two says, convert your downtime to uptime. Convert your wasted time to productive time. JP Sahib, you will love to hear this. Mandela was in jail for 27 years. And when he became the president, somebody asked him, Mr. Mandela, you were in jail for 27 years. How did you survive 27 years? And Mandela said, I was not surviving, I was preparing. I was not surviving, I was preparing. And from there, we pull out a quote which says, I will not let this crisis define me. I will use this crisis to refine me. I will not let this crisis define me. I will use this crisis to refine me. How do you turn the downside to uptime? Now, how do you do it? In the US, before this crisis, a survey was conducted which said an average American watches 3 to 4 hours of TV per day. Before the crisis. Right now, there are people watching 8-10 hours of TV per day. And this is not only American survey, there's European guys, Asian guys, Indian guys, Australian guys. They all watch 4 hours TV per day. Now, a man went to a friend who used to watch 4 hours of TV per day, and he asked him, how much did this TV cost you? I said, well, this TV cost me $1,000. He said, you don't know how to calculate things in life. He said, have you ever calculated the money value of your time? He said, no, but if I make $100,000 per year, and if I work 2,000 hours per year, my hourly rate comes to $50 an hour. He said, okay, $50 an hour, you watch 4 hours of TV per day, that's $200 per day, multiply 365, that is close to $100,000 per year. This TV is costing you $100,000 per year. That is more than your EMI on $1 million home. You don't know how to do calculations in life. You see, don't get me wrong. We all watch TV. We like it, enjoy this nice movie. It relaxes us. But watching 4 hours TV per day, what the hell are you doing? Wasting your life. Now, in my book, You Can Achieve More, I have mentioned a survey which says that 85%, this was a global survey, which said 85% of millionaires and billionaires in the world today are first generation. Only 15% coming from inheritance. And they were asked, how did you get so much financial success in such a short time? And they said, we read books. How many books? We read 50 books a year. And that makes it 1 book a week. 50 books means 1 book a week. Books. Warren Buffett, read on him. Warren Buffett reads 6 to 8 hours per day. He just reads 100 pages per day. Bill Gates, an avid reader. Folks, multi-millionaires and billionaires read 1 book a week. And they attribute their success to reading 1 book a week. And what does it tell us? There is a tremendous connection between learning and earning and learning and earning and learning and earning and learning and earning. Learn more, earn more, learn more, earn more. Tell me, do we need a PhD to understand this? Do we need an MBA to understand this? The sad part is, after doing PhD, MBA, they still don't understand this anyway. And they were asked, what kind of books do you read? And their answer was, we have no time to waste. We don't read any other book. We only read self-help books, only self-help books only. Why? 1 good idea is worth $1 million. They said, we have no time to waste. Now, I've learned one thing, that a serious reader will never borrow or lend books. Never, never, never. Many times people come to me and they say, Mr. Khera, I got a great new book. I can lend it to you. I said, don't. I said, either give it to me, gift it to me, sell it to me, but don't lend it to me. Why? Because I won't give it back to you. Why? Because when I read a book, I always underline and make notes on the side. Why? Because I learned one thing. Reading a good book once is not good enough. Why? Because when you read a good book second time, you don't find anything new in the book, but you find something new in yourself. When you read a good book third time, you don't find anything new in the book, but you find something new in yourself. And the 4th time, 5th time, 6th time, 7th time. There are books I've read 6 times. And you know something? There are people who tell me, I've read your book once. I said, you wasted your time and money too. You haven't got anything out of it. Nothing is the word. You see, JP, I'll share with you, Arrow Electronics from US, $26 billion company. They're my clients. Their managing director attended my program about 20 years ago. And he said to me, and by the way, they have just celebrated their bumper quarter, last quarter during the lockdown period. The bumper quarter was $2 billion in sales. They celebrated it. And I was keynoting, they invited me to keynote. And the managing director said, that when he took over as the managing director, he had 2% market share, and today he has 20% market share. And he says, Mr. Khera, when I attended your program, after that, I bought all your books and I gave all your books to my office staff. He said, every employee of our company has your book and they read it every year. It is mandatory. He said, I've read your book 20 times, 20 times. I said, man, what a guy. But there are people, you know what they say? Hey, I have no time, I have no money. They're either unemployed or underemployed, but they still have no time. And then they say, when I have the money, I'll buy the book. Damn it, you'll never have the money, you'll never buy the book. And by the way, today you don't have to buy any book. You can go to the library, get any book for free, but they will never do it. They'll never do it. And they will permanently keep complaining, I am unlucky, I'm unlucky, I'm unlucky. Of course, you will be unlucky for the rest of your life. You will invite bad luck to yourself anywhere. Now, let's come to the next side. You see, if during this crisis, if you have not upskilled yourself, JP, hear this, if you have not upskilled yourself or become more knowledgeable or become healthier and fitter, it is not because we lack time, but because we lack commitment and self-discipline. Now, why do I share these three things? Because the lockdown took place in March. I did my first webinar on 8th of April. And now till 8th of April, I did not know how to turn the computer on. I did not know. In my life, I had never done an email. I was learning to do SMS for my grandchildren. And I learned to operate the computer. I'm not an expert, but functionally I can work the computer now. And you know something, folks, in the past 4.5 months, I have done, this is my 113th webinar. And people are paying us for it. And I'm giving out dates in January right now. This has opened up totally a new avenue for business for us. And we're getting paid for it. I didn't even know it existed. So one, I've upskilled. Two, I used to read 30, 40 books a year at one time. I dropped the habit. I went into my office, pulled out books. I saw many books were half read. I brought them up. I started reading. One night I was reading till 6 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't get up till 2 o'clock, but who cares? I didn't waste my time watching TV. And I'm reading my books back again. I put in 2 to 3 hours every day today, either reading good books or listening to some good audio videos. 3 hours a day. I'm doing that right now. I'm adding to myself. And also, I have lost 6 kilos of weight. I am exercising morning, evening, man. I've lost 6 kilos of weight. I go into my sauna, I do my gym. And I'm feeling healthier and fitter. I've never felt fitter like this. And if this crisis continues for 2 more years, man, I'm laughing, I'm enjoying. Not that I wanted to, don't get me wrong. I'm sharing, you need to convert your downtime to uptime. You need to upskill yourself, become more knowledgeable, become healthier and fitter. This is the time to do it. Okay. Now, step 3. To overcome stress or any crisis, we need to learn to build strong, good relationships in life. That is your support group in life. Folks, I'll share with you one story from my book, You Can Win. There were 2 childhood friends, Bill and Harry. They went to school together, college together, joined the army, war broke out, they were fighting in the same unit. Bullets were flying all over. Harry was in the trench. A voice came from the darkness, Harry, I'm hurt. Please come and help me. So right away he knew this was his childhood friend, Bill. So he asked the captain, can I go? Captain said no. Look at the way bullets are flying. You could be dead, I could be short-handed. And the way Bill is sounding, I don't think he will live anyway. So Harry kept quiet. But then the voice came again, Harry, I'm hurt, please come and help me. So since he had asked once and been refused, he did not have the guts to ask a second time. But then the voice came the third time, fourth time, fifth time, sixth time. When it was the sixth time, he couldn't hold himself. He said, Captain, this is my childhood friend. I must go. Captain said, okay, go. So Harry crawled through the darkness, went to Bill, grabbed him and dragged him back and threw him into the trench and fell over him. And they found Bill dead. When Captain saw Bill's dead body, he got angry. He said, didn't I tell you? You could have been killed. I could have been short-handed. And he didn't make it anyway. He said, Harry, you made a mistake. Harry said, no, Captain, I did not make a mistake. Because when I reached Bill and I grabbed him, he wasn't dead. His last words were, Harry, I knew you would come. His last words were, Harry, I knew you would come. He said, Captain, I did not make a mistake. Folks, this is how crucial relationships are. And when there is a good one, Rupesh, it needs to be nurtured and cherished. See, our biggest asset in life is, it is not our bank balance. Our biggest asset is our relationship balance. And we notice one thing, Samir, people who have good relationships, what they can achieve with one phone call, you cannot achieve with $1 million. Are you with me? People who have good relationships, what they can achieve with one phone call, you cannot achieve with $1 million. You see, when we talk of relationships, we're talking of relationships personally, professionally, socially. See, God forbid, if any one of us was hospitalized tonight, tell me, how many people will be around us? Maybe 1, 2, 3, no more, no more. And sadly, they are the ones who are most neglected. Now, folks, I found one thing, that people who are emotionally strong, they are coming out stronger from this crisis. And people who are emotionally weak, they are falling apart. WHO came out with a report that domestic violence has gone up by 50%. So this is time, if you are not strong, or if the relationship not strong, this is built, otherwise you will fall apart totally. Now, folks, this is what relationships are all about. Now, I address pretty much many parts of the world. Schools and colleges, business schools keep calling me. And today, in business schools, they are teaching networking. And they teach them, and many people join Chamber of Commerce's, Lions clubs, Rotary clubs. They join in primarily with what? Networking. And you ask them, why are you networking? And he says, I am building contacts. You see, and you ask them, why are you building contacts? I'm building contacts because someday he could be useful. Usefulness goes, friendship also goes. These people don't understand the difference between building contacts versus building relationships. Mera Saab, there's a big difference between building contacts versus building relationships. And their whole purpose is, why are you building contact? He could be useful. He's a lawyer, he's a cop, he's a doctor, he's a politician, he's a mafia, you never know, someday he could be useful. Usefulness goes, friendship goes. People who are only looking to extract something out of you, if usefulness is the only objective, you can never in life build relationship with rascals like this. They are parasites, selfish people. They're only takers in life. We have an office in Singapore. One day I came from dinner and I met me in the lobby. And he asked me, Mr. Khera, you came from dinner? I said, yes. You met some people? I said, yes. He said, I hope you met some people who could be useful to you. Look at this. I hope you met some people who could be useful to you. His criteria of meeting people was only what? Usefulness. What he can extract out of them. I wanted to give him a piece of my mind and something more too. You see, he doesn't understand that usefulness is a byproduct of good relationship. I repeat, usefulness is a byproduct. Supposing I have a friend of 20 years, and tonight if he has a problem, who is the most natural person he will go for help to? The friend of 20 years. He is not making new friends tonight. Now, as a friend, is it my duty to help? Yes. Answer is yes. If I help him, am I doing a favor? No. If I don't, am I behaving like a friend? No. Remember, helping a friend is a duty of a friend. It is never the purpose of friendship. Because if it is a purpose, then purpose finishes, friendship finishes too. Remember, helping is a duty, but it is always incidental to friendship, never the purpose of friendship. And how do you build relationships? You can only build relationship in life by adding a value addition to another person's life. And you can only add a value addition when in life you are willing to give. If you're only a taker, they're parasites, rascals, selfish idiots. You can't build a relationship with people like that. They're only takers in life. We must learn to give. Now, you see, what builds relationship is another thing. You keep hearing tolerance is a good word. Mera Sahab, is tolerance a good word? Yes, no? Incorrect answer. No, it's not. You see, relationships are built not on tolerance, but on mutual respect. Mutual respect. Hear this carefully. I and my wife live together, not because we can tolerate each other. We live together because we respect each other. The day respect for each other goes, you can't live together. You see, employers and employees work long-term together, not because they can tolerate each other. They work long-term together because they respect each other. If they only work together because they can tolerate each other, you know what that means? They are postponing the blast, that's all. The word is mutual respect. Now, folks, remember one thing. In any relationships, conflicts are bound to happen. So what we say is, learn to resolve conflicts, don't dissolve relationships. I repeat, learn to resolve conflicts, don't dissolve relationships. Now, whatever I'm sharing here today, Rupesh, you look pretty young, must have done your MBAs. You see, you tell me one thing. Do you know of any school and college that is teaching all the stuff that I have discussed with you in the last 1 hour? Not one school in the world. Not one. My two girls have done their masters in the US. They don't teach all this stuff anywhere. And I've been doing corporate training for the past 30 years. And when we do corporate training today, we tell our people that, look, what I am doing in your corporation today is repair work. I'm doing repair, repair, repair. Now, if you prepare them, you won't have to repair them. Where do you prepare them? You prepare them in schools and colleges. And sadly, no school and college is doing their job properly. Now, I had the dean of James Cook University from Australia attend our program. And he said, Mr. Khera, I've been in academics for the past 30 years. And he said, I have never heard this before. No school and college is teaching all this. And after he attended my program, by the way, they've partnered with us now. They're partnered with us, and we are setting up a Center of Leadership Excellence for James Cook University in Singapore campus. And we have created a program for schools and colleges. It is called Prepare Them, Don't Repair Them. Prepare them, don't repair them. And I would be more than happy, JP Sahib, you are the director, I'll be more than happy to offer my services, leadership services, to all your, every year you do, all your incoming DGs happen. I will be more than happy to do my leadership program for your annual event, anywhere you do once a year, globally. I will voluntarily do it. There are no commercials involved. Just take care of logistics and pay me nothing, sir. But the whole idea is to building new leaders. That's all.
Definitely. Thank you for offering.
Now, important thing is, let me come to the third side. Sorry, fourth side. I don't know. Remember what it is, but whatever it is. Become a proactive person. Become a proactive person. Now, I know I've gone beyond hour. Let me finish up now because it's important. I don't want to leave halfway. Folks, when we do our 4-day leadership programs, we ask people, are you a good person? And sometimes people say, yes, I'm a good person. And you ask them, what makes you good? They say, well, I don't do bad, so I'm good. I don't tell lies, I don't cheat, so I'm good. So our answer is, I disagree with your answer. See, folks, not doing bad does not make a person good. If I don't steal, it only means I'm not a thief, but that doesn't make me good. And if I don't tell lies, it only means I'm not a liar, but that does not make me good. Folks, a person go ask a medical doctor. Absence of ill health does not mean good health. So not doing bad does not make a person good. A person becomes good only when they proactively do good. Folks, with those words, I'll hand over the floor to you. I know I've gone a little over time, but that's okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Khera ji, for enlightening us, for telling us how to turn your failures into stepping stones for the success. And thank you for bringing the Sikh community in your discourse and speaking good of them. And I, on behalf of the entire Lions Club International and on behalf of all the delegates, it is about 3,000 delegates who will be watching, who are watching you today. And I'm thankful to you for motivating each one of us. And the Lions Clubs International is grateful to you for this talk to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Khera sir. It was a pleasure listening to you as always. I have been a keen follower of all your lectures, seminars, and again, every time it's a new learning. Quickly, I'll ask one or two questions because of the paucity of time. One question goes as, we are the Lions, we are the world's largest NGO. How would you suggest or recommend, or what would you suggest or recommend to the Lions? How should we excel as leaders in community service for the next normal? Because we are talking about what is happening today is the next normal. What would be your advice to the Lions? What they should concentrate on to remain the topmost NGO of the world?
Sir, the only answer is, it's not optional. If you want to get there, it's mandatory. The only answer is build your people, build your people. And I learned one thing, there is no neutral leader in this world. You see, all Lions people, whether they're members or office bearers or DGs or presidents, they're all leaders in some form or the other. Otherwise, you would not even join Lions. My only point is that, you see, good leaders build more leaders, bad leaders build followers. You know why? They're so insecure. And I learned one thing, good leaders build more leaders, and bad leaders look to create followers. So only thing is build more leaders. And I was talking to a banker in London the other day, and he said, Mr. Khera, we're already preparing right now, and the recovery that will take place next year, he says, we have never in history, we have never seen in history what is coming, the kind of recovery we are talking of. You see, it always happens. It gets much darker before it's sun shines, and same thing, the depression is so big, and then you are looking for a big comeback, and people who are not prepared, they'll fall apart, and people who are, they'll go up. Right now, do you know what is happening? The poor are becoming poorer and the rich are becoming richer, which is not good, in my opinion. But the important thing is, people who are prepared, the recovery will take them to another level totally. So my only thing is, since Lion is philanthropic, and at the same time, you people are all large-hearted people. I repeat, you are all large-hearted people. You are putting your time, your money, and it's your own stuff. You could do something else. But important thing is, sir, strengthen your leadership program. I repeat, English language one more time. Strengthen your leadership program. And I've been doing this training for the past 35 years with Fortune 50 companies, with all the best companies in the world. I would be more than happy to volunteer my services anytime for a proper program. You see, when you call me for an event, oh, Mr. Khera, give a speech here. You know something, speech is not training. This is an event. This is an event. This is not people development. I repeat, Mera Sahab, this is not, people development is a process. And process takes time. When we do our 3-day, 4-day programs, we gradually, and after our 4-day programs, leadership programs, people leave with an action plan to implement. Because if we can't implement, it's a waste. And we have a 31-day action plan. Why 31-day action plan? Because research has shown that it takes 31 days of conscious, consistent effort to form a habit. Any behavior we practice consistently, 31 days, 32nd, it becomes a habit. And if we want to do anything well in life, it must be reflex action. It must come automatic. If we have to think to do the right thing, we can never do it right. See, हमारा ये quotation जो है ना, winners don't do different things, they do things differently. People ask me, what do they do differently? And my answer is, winners form the habit of doing things losers don't like to do. And what are the things losers don't like to do? They're the same things winners don't like to do either, but they do it anyway. See, losers don't like to get up in the morning. Winners don't like to get up in the morning either, but they get up anyway. Losers don't like to work hard. Hey, winners don't like to work hard either, but they work hard anyway. See, winners form the habit of doing things losers don't like to do. आप देखें हम लोग की चाहे जो भी उम्र हो गई होगी, our parents say one thing, form good habits, and habits form characters. You see, if we have to think to do the right thing, we can never do it right. It must come automatic. You see, what happens is 90% of our behavior is habitual. We don't think, we just act. Our parents said one thing, form good habits, and habits form characters. And if we have positive habits, we are a positive character. If we have negative habits, we are a negative character. And good habits are hard to come by, but they're easy to live with. And bad habits come easy, but they're hard to live with. And before we got the habits got us. Yes, no. So, आप देखें कई बार लोग कहते हैं साहब इसकी तो किस्मत ही अच्छी है, मिट्टी को हाथ लगाता है सोना हो जाती है, इसकी किस्मत खराब है, सोने को हाथ लगाता है मिट्टी हो जाती है. Analyze that. The person you call lucky, analyze their life, analyze every transaction in their life, and you will find the positive behavior has become habitual. Every time they do it, they just do it right. It happens right. Reflex are moving right. And same thing, the person we call unlucky, analyze their life, analyze every transaction in their life, you will find the negative behavior has become habitual. Every time they do it wrong. It happens wrong. They do it wrong because it's become habitual. So why am I bringing this? We must bring all positive behavior into reflex action. And that is really, when we do our leadership program, that's what we have people walk away with the 31-day action plan.
Thank you so much, sir. It's always, as I said, a pleasure to listen to you. And we have been talking about leadership in service, or leadership through service, and service through leadership. And your answer this time has answered all our questions. It was a pleasure. And yes, we look forward to the next actual training program, which you have already proposed. And as our international director has accepted that he is going to invite you, and we will all get an opportunity to go through the process to make us better leaders for tomorrow. On behalf of all the Lions of Isame who have had the privilege to listen to you today, I thank you for the time spent with us, sir, and the way you have motivated us.